If you're a veteran or you are currently serving on active duty with the United States military and you're facing misdemeanor criminal charges in the state of California, the state has a great program that will allow you to keep your record clean. Please stay tuned and welcome to Reaching New Heights with the Judge. My name's Mark Johnson. I'm a Superior Court judge in California, a retired Army colonel, and I've teamed up with retired Army Command Sergeant Major Gregory Coker, and we're here to help veterans. Just me today. Sergeant Major Coker is out helping veterans. Now, if this is your first time watching our show, well, first, I'll encourage you to keep watching it and to subscribe, but I'll give you a quick background. I'm Mark Johnson. I'm a California Superior Court judge. For 8 of the 12 years I've been on the bench, I've presided over the Riverside County Veterans Treatment Court. One aspect of that court is military diversion. And this is a program designed for veterans and active duty military to keep their records clean. I'm also a retired colonel, full colonel of the United States Army. I spent about 8 years active, including a tour to Baghdad, Iraq, and 20 reserve. Diversion is a contract you enter into with the court. You agree to do a certain thing or things, and in return the court agrees to do something. In the case of military diversion, that thing the court does is dismissal of all charges. Now, let me just state this as generally diversion is a good deal for you, but it may not be in all cases. So this is probably a good time for me to mention something. I'm not giving you legal advice on your case. That's where you need a lawyer, hopefully, who's familiar with both the military and the military diversion program, as well as your local courts, to assist you. And that's where you should be getting your legal advice. There are 2 separate things I look at to determine whether you should be placed on a military diversion program. So let's divide these up into 2 broad categories. The first is eligibility. The second is going to be suitability, but eligibility is the first. Now, eligibility has 3 things that we look at, 3 things that make you eligible under California Penal Code, Section 1001.80 for military diversion. The first of those is that you must have served in the armed forces or be presently serving in the armed forces. In other words, you're on active duty or you're a veteran of the military. Now, note that when I use the word veteran, and I mean that to apply to someone who has served, that's what it means. Being a veteran or being eligible for this military diversion program does not require that you have a good discharge. You could have a dishonorable discharge and still be eligible. Now, that may influence the court's decision down the way in some other way, but so you got to have served in uniform. That's it. No discussion of level of discharge or quality of service. Secondly, you must be charged with a misdemeanor or misdemeanors. Now, very often on a complaint, that's the charging document, it will have, maybe multiple charges. There can be several. They just have to, if they're misdemeanors, you're eligible. You could have multiple criminal cases. I have taken people into the court who have had as many as 3 or 4 separately filed misdemeanor cases, and I thought they were appropriate. And then finally, the third analysis, the third prong of this for eligibility is that you must be suffering from a mental health condition as a result of your military service. The statute specifically says post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma, but then it has the catch-all or other mental health condition. Note, you have to have the condition that came from your service. There does not need to be a connection or a nexus between the mental health condition, and the crime. You just have to have the mental health condition that resulted from your military service. So those are the three criteria. You've got them. What do you do next? Well, I guess in simplest terms, you ask. You ask the court to be considered for military diversion. Now, how you ask will differ from court to court. I don't require a formal written motion. This is where you could be really proactive as a veteran or active duty military. Let's just say you're a veteran who's charged with a DUI, you've served in Iraq, and you have post-traumatic stress disorder. Now is the time for you to dig out that DD-214, which is the all-important document. You have to have a DD-214 available. It'll delay everything if you don't. In addition, if you have documentation showing that you have a mental health condition that resulted from your military service, take a proactive view, give that to your lawyer, give it to the judge, give it to the mental health providers I'm going to send you to. I jumped the gun a little there. Once you come in and you ask, and I know you've served, and at least it looks like this guy may be eligible, I then refer it out for a psychological report. One of the beauties of my jobs is I don't need to be an expert in anything. I just have these rock stars who are out here working in the department, and I tell them, evaluate this guy, and they do. In this case, it's the Department of Mental Health or Riverside University Health System. They are our mental health department for the county. A lot of places, a lot of counties will use the Veterans Administration. We're now at the stage where I've got all the information from the experts. I've also looking at what your attorney has provided me, because you have taken that proactive approach. You've given them your VA disability ratings. You've also provided it for the psychological experts, the people who have talked to you. It's now up to me to make a decision. Now, I consider suitability at this point. There's case law. Cases, these are appellate court cases that have considered the applicability of this penal code section that have made it abundantly clear that I am to consider one thing: your rehabilitation. I can't have across the board rules like, okay, his blood alcohol was above a 0.15 and therefore because of that he doesn't get diversion. I can't have those kind of rules. I have to take a tailored person by person evaluation looking at you and decide whether you can be rehabilitated on a diversion program. If you've got PTSD, you've served in Iraq, Afghanistan, some other place, and you're charged with a misdemeanor, just practically I'm probably going to accept you on diversion, because I want to keep your record clean if we can. Obviously I have a job to do. Now, so rehabilitation is the key. If I feel you can't be rehabilitated, and there's cases, somebody who's drinking a fifth of or a quart of bourbon a day may need more than just what a diversion program can provide. They may need the level of treatment to be rehabilitated that is not available on diversion. But, we take some serious misdemeanors. I always feel like any tie or any doubt goes to the veteran in my courtroom, I can tell you that. So, let's assume I've accepted you on diversion. I've looked at you, you're a combat vet, you got 2 tours, and one in Iraq, one in Afghanistan, you're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, you picked up a DUI. You are then required to waive time. What that basically means, it's a fancy lawyer term for you give up your right to a speedy trial. Remember, we were talking about the contract idea. This is the contract between me and you. I give you a treatment plan. It has certain terms. You agree to it. And then you come back to court in a couple months. You get started, you come back to court. Usually I set court appearances every 3 months. They could be every week if necessary. But just remember, I'm always going to be doing what I think I need to do to make sure you get better. you heal, because that's what I want. But let's say it's a typical case. Every 3 months, you come back to court. If you successfully complete all the terms, you come back in a year. I then reach over, and yes, I actually do use a gavel. I reach over, grab the gavel, pick it up, and firmly hit it on the bench and say, "Case dismissed." Good deal for you. And that's the whole process. Now, there's other things I'd ask in some other videos. I want to talk about how to present yourself to a judge, what you can do, what documents you need. These are the kind of things I want to do in some more videos to try to give you some help, once again, to make you more powerful as you walk through that courthouse door. We'll do all that. But let me just say one comment. Some of the folks who gripe about this somewhat special treatment for veterans are often veterans themselves. A lot of Vietnam vets, I've heard them complaining, and probably rightly so, because they say, "Nobody ever did this for me." Right, I agree, but I tell you what, I'll do it for you now if you qualify for these programs. But these are benefits that are a recognition of your service. Take advantage of it. And tell you what, if you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. As I said, I can't advise you on your case, but I will do my best. Give me a little time. I'm not exactly sitting on my rear end doing nothing. I'm pretty busy, but I'll do my best to get back to get you answers. Thank you very much for viewing. This is a lot of fun for me. I try to keep this a little off the cuff and not memorize the speech, but with that, keep on heading forward, veterans and military. Take care.